across the country, and he sees that as a win, appealing to his sense of that the U.S. can lead the way with this breaking edge, this cutting edge technology as well. Now, the other part of that coin is the fact that it leaves him vulnerable, he and the party vulnerable to arguments about affordability, even as he touts lower energy costs for
All
gasoline and fuel.
right. We are live.
Have skyrocketed, and we saw that play out in some of the elections that we saw in November, where Republicans lost
We
pretty
are
handily in several
live.
places, and affordability became a salient issue, and electricity prices became a salient issue. The other part of it politically is, as you all have both alluded to, Americans still don't quite understand all of the nuances of AI. The administration hasn't been able to, or the industry, explain it in a way that common Americans can really grasp it. They see it as something that's fun.
All right.
They see it as something that can be confusing. They see it as something that can be toxic
Miss
as
Linda will
well
be
at
getting
times.
brushed
They see it
today.
as a threat to their livelihoods and jobs, right?
And
And then you add on the affordability issue as
I'm
well.
going to give her
So
these
we'll
treats, which
see
I haven't
where
given her
things
in
land. But
actually a while.
the president has
Well
been
over a week. I've been
on
giving her some new
a big
food that I recently
affordability tour,
bought,
quite a few big events on
which
there,
she
and yet
likes,
it's not clear what
um,
levers he's going to
but
pull
not
because,
not
well, he
100%
doesn't
likes it.
recognise that there is an affordability
She
crisis
leaves
yet. But
always
yet
leaves some
again,
at the
just
end and doesn't finish
how
it
crucial is that going to be?
because
And do you
it's.
think that there's going to be
Well, I'll
actual
tell you
moves by the
when
administration,
more people come
more
on.
direct efforts, or is the White House going to still feel like this is really just about messaging more than substance?
Huh?
I think a little bit of both, right? I think the problem for the White House is the fact that Donald Trump, going back to our interview with him in summer of 2024, has looked at tariffs and argued that tariffs don't have a material effect on consumer prices. Well, what you've seen over the last month and change or so is some of the reversals on foodstuffs, right? Bananas, coffee as well. So you see the administration also trying to pull levers on things like beef. So it's an acknowledgement in some ways that the tariffs are having this additive cost to the
All right,
consumer
let's give
from
you a
the administration, even as
quick
Trump has
snack
argued. So you
before
got
we
this
get started
double
here.
message coming from the administration. And quite frankly, if anyone saw the president's speech at the rally, his heart just wasn't into this affordability message. I mean, he all but said that his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, told him, you need to
Hello,
put your
Chicopee
head in the
Radio.
sand on this. So it almost sounded like someone who was
Welcome
grudgingly
to the
told you got
stream,
to
my
go
friend.
outside
Happy Caturday.
and do something that you really don't want to do. It's convenient for the purpose of this podcast to feel that the economy is central to everything. We should step back and ask, what is the state of the U.S. economy going into 26? I mean, I know many of us, certainly a year ago, if we'd been
She's
following what
excited. She likes these
administration was going
treats,
to do,
doesn't she?
what was going to happen in terms of tariffs and uncertainty and other things, we probably would not have expected it to be as strong or inflation to be as low. What does it look like now, and what are you watching going into 26 on just the strength of the economy?
All right.
I think there's quite a lot
Linda's
to
getting excited.
think about
She's
on
excited.
the U.S. economy heading into 2026. Inflation's a bit higher than the Fed would like it to be, but it's certainly not spiraling higher. Growth pretty robust. Looking into 2026, we've got each of the trade
Rodriguez.
emissions.
Anno
The Fed is cutting interest
3615.
rates.
What's name?
We think they're going to be
Linda.
cutting quite a lot more in the year
Name is
ahead.
Linda.
We've got supportive fiscal policy, the one big beautiful bill cutting taxes for big US businesses. We've got a bonfire of regulations. We can argue about whether or not that's socially optimum or not, but certainly it sparks animal
Ow!
spirits. And of course, we've
Here.
got the AI revolution and all that means for market optimism and for capital spending. So if you put all of those things together, I think the base case for
I'm
US
good
growth
today.
in
Yesterday, Danny got
2026,
me stressed out.
US growth in the midterms is
Let's.
pretty optimistic. There's stuff that could go wrong. AI optimism could evaporate.
Yeah. Let's now. With the server. You know, it's not easy. He told you. He warned you from the beginning. You know, it's not going to be easy.
Back into perspective, pushing interest rates higher. So
Uh,
risks there, but the base
My advice to you
into 2026 I
is
think pretty optimistic.
enjoy your SDR. I received mine as well. And if you ever get a Windows PC, then you could try to do it. But don't. You can't be doing that. You can't be going on other people's servers or channels and be having, that type of temper. It's
But that's a power that the president has always had.
You gotta chill, my dude. You gotta chill out.
The president also has the power to fire members of the Fed board. I mean, Mario, that's pretty crucial.
Linda,
Decisions coming down
nice name. My cat's named Tawi, 3 legs. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining, my friend. Smash that like button if you, like cats. This is a chill stream here. And if you like to see me get attacked here too sometimes, no, she's good. No, I'm not going to put a server up. Nope. I don't have time for that, Chicopee. I got, other obligations, stuff. Maybe in the future, not now. Hello, let's see. Hello to BMX Kid 965. Hello, welcome. Miss Daisy May is in the house. Hello, Miss Daisy May. Daisy May, Kelly, and Beautiful Magic, the cat. And hello to Kelly's husband. Philippe the 13th. Hello. Welcome. Smash that like button. 12 people watching. I'm about to brush the queen here. Today.
In the case of Lisa Cook, which we talked about before on this program, but how important is that, do you think, in terms of the way the Fed is viewed? Because at the moment, obviously, the markets seem to be quite relaxed about the pressure that the White House is putting on the central bank.
So a few years ago, we talked about
the Queen.
Twilight of the economic idols, right? Kind of
All right.
slightly grandiose term. I can't remember who came up with it, but the idea was, well, the populists have smashed
Betting Linda,
the
yes.
of so many institutions, right? The universities, the media, the law firms,
Alrighty.
the scientific profession. Maybe they'll come for the central banks, right? The Federal Reserve has failed on its basic task of controlling inflation. The Federal Reserve back then had to kick out 2 members of its governing council because of concerns about insider trading. This is a vulnerable institution. The populists have knocked over so many other institutions. Maybe they'll come for the Fed as well. And sure enough, here we are at the end of 2025, looking ahead into 2026, and the populists are certainly banging at the Fed's door, right? We already have Stephen Biden, the chair of the Council of Advisors for President Trump, serving on the Fed
Sus.
board. We have the court case
W4F.
that you mentioned,
Hello.
which could open up another board seat for the president to fill, and we have Chair Powell exiting in May and scope for the president to appoint his own chair. And whoever he picks, how credible they are, is going to be.
Hope everyone is having a good weekend
that they've made
so far.
Low-rate loyalty pledge to the president in order to get the job. Now, we haven't seen the markets reacting to this much so far, but it really is quite.
She feel comfortable, yes.
Independent Federal Reserve is a fundamental underpinning of market confidence that the U.S. will be serious about controlling inflation. And that's a fundamental underpinning of the role of the dollar as the world's reserve currency and U.S. Treasuries as the world's safe asset. If that confidence is undermined, well, the status of the dollar, the status of the Treasury market, both open to question.
This kind of maximalist view of presidential power that we've seen so far, Mario, I mean, how does that play politically? Do you think there is a chance of this Congress, previously rather feeble, biting back?
Yeah, so that's a great word for it. It's been mostly feeble, but we have seen signs of life in recent months, right? We saw, obviously, the evergreen here is the split between the president and Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're also seeing at the state level, and if democracy functions the way it should in operation, it could funnel up to Congress as well, but we've seen pushback in some of the redistricting efforts as well.
Come on, Linda. Oops.
Congress, bipartisan Republicans even.
Come on, Linda.
Glancing a bit at the boat strikes in the Caribbean, particularly the one in which it was like
Meow, meow.
called a double tap in a boat as well. So we've started to see the president called for during the shutdown. The president called for Republicans to eliminate the filibuster. That was a line too far for them as well that they didn't heed. And then obviously, and again, I mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene, the fact that the Epstein files and the legislation there, they forced the president to do an about-face on that issue as well. So we're starting to see some semblances of life.
Thank you for listening to this perfect portion of the Trumponomics
All right.
podcast on Bloomberg Radio, and you can find all of the
Come on, Linda.
episodes of Trumponomics in their entirety on Apple, Spotify, anywhere else where you get podcasts. I'm Stephanie Sanders, and this is Bloomberg.
From the financial capital of the world, 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com and the Bloomberg Business app. This is WBBR New York, Bloomberg 1130. Coming up, the latest market-moving headlines from Bloomberg. First, an update from our partners at CBS News.
It's CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
And Allison Keys. There's growing anger and worry after an ICE agent fatally shot a woman in Minneapolis and 2 others in Portland were injured by another agent. There are protests planned around the nation in Minnesota and in Washington, D.C. CBS's Ushar Qureshi with the latest.
What was your reaction to this shooting?
Here we go again.
Muhammad Abdul-Ahad is a violence prevention community activist.
Gotta make you all pretty, Linda.
To bridge the gap between residents and police since the murder of George Floyd.
But then when he got upward and said law enforcement involved shooting, that's when the first thing I said was, I bet you it was ICE. And what do you know? It was an ICE-involved shooting.
President Trump is working hard to get American oil
All right.
companies to go back to investing in Venezuela. CBS's Kelly O'Grady explains.
President Trump is continuing his quest to get American energy companies to invest in Venezuela's oil
All right, that's it.
infrastructure. Yesterday, the president met with executives
You're all set, Linda.
of oil and gas companies at the White House. The cut is
Hello, Patricia Kotler. Hello,
The
Kat.
meeting happened less than a week after the U.S. captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in a daring raid on his residence.
The exiled son of Iran's ousted Shah is urging protesters in that nation to stop and hold city centers as he plans to return home. The BBC's Kasper Naji with more.
The complete shutdown of the internet has seriously hampered the flow of information from Iranian towns and cities. But enough is coming through to
let's
show
finish
that
you up.
Friday saw another night of widespread protests with huge numbers of people joining marches.
Back in the U.S., what are the hottest cities in the housing market?
Smaller cities top the list. Pittsburgh is number 1 with its growing education and health services sectors. Columbia, South Carolina, Orlando, St. Louis, and Richmond, Virginia round out the top 5. Wallet Hub says starting salaries are lower in those cities than in larger cities, but their housing costs are also lower. Housing in Pittsburgh costs 7% less than the national average. Detroit has the fewest job openings per capita of any U.S. city. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A big move for a globe-trotting celebrity who is about to be added to Atlanta's skyline. A statue of Kermit the Frog is headed to the Center for Puppetry Arts in that city's midtown. But museum director Jill Malou says he needs a little work done.
He's a little beat up, so we want to make sure that he's cared for, and we can serve him and give him a little bit of a juju fresh up, and then mount him in the right place.
The 900-pound version of the frog traveled 2,000 miles to get to his new digs, but no word on what Miss Piggy thinks about all this. This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor
Linda.
what vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
We all hear
Look at her.
radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.
That's my computer
I'm not here
there.
to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's
You know what she's going for. She's going for these treats.
we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are.
Oh, how many cats do you have? Sorry, I just saw that now. Sorry, my friend. I have 1 cat only.
TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to
And I have 3 birds. Yep, 3 birds, chickpea.
that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at PRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax relief advocates, real solutions for real people.
She loves chicken. She loves it.
Dry January is a popular health
Yeah, 3 birds, Chicopee, 3 birds.
consuming alcohol for the entire month. Cleveland Clinic psychiatric nurse practitioner Jessica Benevic says going alcohol-free has some real health benefits.
We see it helps lower your blood pressure. It can lower your cholesterol levels. You can also lose weight. You're not drinking all those empty calories. Also can help boost your immune system as well.
Benevic says people who are heavy drinkers should consult with their doctor before trying Dry January. Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
The Washington National Opera is parting ways with the Kennedy Center, becoming the latest high-profile departure from the performance venue since President Trump and his board of trustees made huge changes. That includes renaming the facility after its president. The opera says it's going to now be a nonprofit. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
And I'm Monica Ricks in the Bloomberg newsroom. Here are some of the stories we're watching. The first full week of trading of 2026 is now in the books, and U.S. stocks closed at all-time highs, fueled by signs of fresh economic momentum, productivity gains, and a benign inflation outlook. The S&P gained 1.6% this week. President Trump is calling for
No,
a
3
cap
birds.
on credit card interest rates. Bloomberg's Ed Kalegi has details.
President Trump is calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates at 10% effective January 20th. He wrote on social media, "Please be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30% and even more, which festered unimpeded during the sleepy Joe Biden administration." He then finished with the word affordability in all caps. It's not clear whether credit card companies will respond to his call or what actions he might take to force any change. Ed Kalegi, Bloomberg Radio.
The president says he sort of formed a deal on Venezuela with oil executives during a meeting at the White House yesterday.
They're going to be going in with hundreds of billions of dollars and drilling oil, and it's good for Venezuela, and it's great for the United States.
Companies like Exxon are still skeptical, but the administration says Chevron's already making headway and could boost its cash flow by as much as $700 million a year. Here's Bloomberg's Charlie Pellet.
Chevron is the only American oil major currently operating in Venezuela. Jason Gableman of TD Cowen says that Chevron's efforts could add between $400 and $700 million a year, representing about 1 to 2% of the company's cash flow operations. Venezuela's oil industry has been run down after decades of corruption.
Chicopee Radio, the coin guard was Kitsos. And unfortunately, Kitsos is no longer here.
Spread to more than 50 countries. It involves the detection of suralide in an ingredient from one of Nestle's suppliers.
He passed away.
It can cause nausea and vomiting and has already led to scores of product recalls worldwide. And Saks could file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as soon as tomorrow. The luxury retailer's been struggling financially and is said to be working with creditors now to restructure more than $1 billion.
So yeah, it's
the goal is to stay
Miss
open
Kitsos.
and repay some of the vendors.
I had many birds. I had like at one point after they gave birth, like 9 birds. Gave many away. Kept. I was down to 4 for a while. But Kitsos, that bird died. So there's only 3 left. Which I've never shown anyways on camera, but they're down. I have them downstairs. I don't know, Chicopee. He just Hey, what are you doing? Are you kidding me? I had some hair and she just started eating her own hair. What the heck? Okay, that I've never seen her do before. Come on, Linda.
This is the Podcast Spotlight Hour on Bloomberg Radio.
It was sad. I don't know what happened. Yeah, he just...
Welcome to the All Thoughts Podcast on Bloomberg Radio. I'm Tracy Alloway.
And I'm Joe Weisenthal.
Now I downsized to a smaller cage because I had a big cage, because it was many birds. At one point, hang on, let me lower this.
We are talking about the outlook for 2026. Thank you both for coming on All Thoughts.
Thanks so much for having us. Great to be here.
Yeah, 2026 shaping up to be.
I hate when it does that. So I had 2 smaller cages, then I got a big cage. had them all in. But now that I'm down to 3 birds, I just have one smaller cage. It's good enough. They don't need, because I don't have a lot of space here, unfortunately, either. But 2 of the birds, I don't know, I had them outside, and the weather was still nice for them to be outside. It was like in the 60s, so nothing crazy. Low 60s. High 50s, low 60s. It was a cool day, but it's nothing crazy. They can survive, And 2 of them passed away. Kitos and another one, a green one, which I believe, I never named them all. I only gave Kitos a name because there were so many of them. I don't know. And hello, Alfredo. Alfredo's in the house. We don't know. We prefer not to talk. I mean, Alfredo, yeah, it's very depressing. I still miss Kitos a lot. Yeah. I think of him a lot. But from what I understand, it's hard. It's hard to know what they're very good at hiding if they're sick. I don't know if they got into some kind of a fight. I don't know if a raccoon came. I don't know if it was the cold itself. Although, like I said, to me, I've had them. I have a little awning out in the backyard that I put them under in the summer. It's under the shade. And they love it. And, they're out there chirping away. Of course, now they're inside. It's winter time, Sadly, I don't know what happened, but rest in peace. Just like Luna, unfortunately, the story with Luna is she was a blue parakeet, which I would watch for my uncle, every summer when he would go away. But this summer, Luna disappeared. She escaped over there. Accidents. He went to put her in the box to bring her here. He came here. I wasn't here that day, but my father was here. And he opened the box. No Luna. No, we don't know. So she somehow, when he went back inside his house to grab whatever he needed, something, Luna escaped, and he never noticed until he got here. Shit happens. It's sad, but shit happens. Just like, the other day I had a guy last stream that said he lost his cat. She disappeared. It doesn't mean... Yeah, now she has babies, probably. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We do the best we can, but that's that. And the thing is, these that I have, these birds are older than Kitos. Kitos was about maybe 2. A little over 2. 2.5. 2.5. So you don't know. There's other birds, babies, they're born and they die. It's sad. And of course, Linda here. Linda here is going to be 15. We're going to have a party for Miss Linda next month. She's going to be 15 years old. We're going to throw a birthday party for you. Big party. So, yeah, Chicopee. Rest in peace. Yeah, thank you. Kitos is watching you from above. I had the coins up there. They're not there now, but... I remember growing up, we had a couple of canaries too. And, well, it's sad losing pets. They don't live forever. We don't know. Which is why we have to enjoy every moment that we can with them. So, Yeah, I brushed Linda. Here's this. There was some hair up here, and she started devouring her own hair. What's the matter with you? Why you do that? Linda.
How do you account for, I guess, the weakness that we've seen in some of the mega tech stocks in recent weeks? What's going on there?
For 3 years, we've been obsessed with AI as a market, and for 3 years, really the story has been increased CapEx,
All right.
extraordinarily growth spending, and although we're discussing a lot the eventual productivity benefits, has been the companies with earnings that are benefiting from those CapEx dollars. And what's happened this year, especially in the last several months, is it's become increasingly clear that A, probably that growth will decelerate next year, and B, to continue that growth, it's going to require more debt. And both of those factors have made investors understandably uncomfortable.
Jan, one of the sort of the viral charts of the year, various estimates of like how much the AI build out specifically is a driver.
All right, let's open this.
2025 and beyond. Like how much, like, you know, when you look at the GDP in 2025, how much of the growth can you attribute to what Ben just talked about?
Actually, pretty close to zero.
Really? This is
That's very different from other people.
I love that.
For two reasons. Number one, the goods that are being invested in the AI sector are largely imported. So you can look at the contribution of investment spending to GDP growth, but if you don't net that out against the imports, then you're going to get the wrong answer. That's one reason. Second reason is that semiconductors are generally treated as intermediate inputs, not as investment. So they don't actually show up in the investment numbers. And so when we look at the impact of AI investment on measured GDP growth, on the numbers that are actually being printed, we're getting only about 20 basis points of contribution over the last 3 or 4 years, and pretty close to zero over the last year.
So this strikes me as such an important point because, you know, you have other people estimating, 50% of growth this year is related to the AI build-out. Are you just always, like, banging your head against the wall? Because you must see these headlines every day like the rest of us.
I do that because oftentimes it's just based on looking at some portion of investment spending.
Yeah, Bloomberg Radio.
Sometimes there are also other things included in those calculations that aren't necessarily AI related.
Everything is expensive. Everything.
You really need to look at the imports as well.
Ben, I should just ask before we go any further, what actually is your 2026 target for the S&P 500? Because we haven't seen the official outlook yet.
We published 76.
When something goes up,
Okay, so one thing I did want to ask, this was...
doubt you're going to see it go down. Maybe gas is one instance or oil, but in terms of groceries and stuff like that, these, obviously, who wants to sell their stuff? They'll sell it for low if people aren't buying it, but who wants to, you know, people want to make as much as they can. Simple as that. I mean,
not perfection perhaps, but to a very positive scenario. And so in that kind of situation, my instinct would always be to build in a little bit of mean reversion, and that would give you a modest amount of underperformance. But I wouldn't say that that's a major part of our overall views for the next year.
I have a question, and it's one of these things, maybe it doesn't fit right into this moment in the conversation, but I'm so worried that I'm going to forget it, that I'm going to ask it now. So we are recording this December 19th. We got that CPI report
December
yesterday.
19th. The heck? You're giving me old news.
We didn't have October data.
I got to hear the latest, man. It's January 10th here.
Zero rent growth. There's zero.
All right, let's put something else. Let's see what else is on.
That we think are going to transform for the next 5 to 10 years, one of which is nuclear. And so we're making our bets.
Okay, this is WABC 770.
The SMR manufacturer, the small modular reactor manufacturers, the underlying element that's required, uranium. So we have exposure to that in our thematic portfolio, and I think that's a good balance because.
And hello, Heikki. Happy Caturday, Heikki, my friend.
We're underweight the group.
And Happy New Year. I don't know. I told you that in one of my comments, reply to you, but I don't know if I saw you last stream. So Happy New Year, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Chicopee says, strange how the gas is going down despite it being a big city you live in. I mean, it's gone down, yeah, and it's much in other places in the Midwest. It's actually even much less. But yeah.
If you throw the mullahs out here, think about it. All right, the kind of mood I'm in. So throw the mullahs out. Throw the whole lot of them out. Put the Shah's son back in. What's the first thing he's going to want to do? Pump. You got it. Right. You got it. He needs cash. They have one crop. All right? Pump.
Get the radio in the shot, too.
I got to take a break. Okay. Pump. You're exactly right. Nancy Tengler, Jim LeCamp, I'm Cudlow. We'll be right back with more.
There we go. We're going to get a nice thumbnail here.
This is the Larry Kudlow Show.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors the courage and sacrifice of America's heroes. Heroes like United States Army Lieutenant Colonel Christy Rabis. Christy served our country with unwavering dedication for 20 years as a combat nurse. After a 6-year battle with service-related cancer, Christy's life was tragically cut short. She leaves behind her husband Stephen and their 2 children, Jack and Stella. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the Rabis family's home. Help more families like Christy's. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact by donating your car or land. Go to T2T.org.
You work decades for your savings. Don't let a policy decision wipe it out overnight. Rising debt, bank stress, the threat of a weaker dollar are all forcing investors to take action. Sanctuary Metals helps Americans move part of their IRA or 401ks into real physical gold. Tax deferred and penalty free. Protect your retirement. Call 800-80.
Whoa, $1 for gas. That's not anywhere a dollar. I think, what is it, $2.60, something like that, maybe. I don't know. It's under $3 in some places. That I know.
Today, I want to welcome Stuart Sullivan, the Chief Philanthropy Officer for Shriners Children's, back to our show. Today, Stuart, tell us how including Shriners Children's in your will or estate plan can help ensure that your incredible mission continues for generations to come.
Other than a simple gift of cash, a bequest may be the easiest way to make a gift to your favorite charity. Everyone should have a will and review it every so often, particularly when there are changes in circumstances. That is the perfect time to consider including a bequest to your favorite charity. A charitable bequest can be a specific dollar amount or a percentage of the estate. It can also be a specific asset, such as a retirement fund, securities, real estate, antiques, or other assets. If the estate is subject to estate tax, the gifts can be to charity can qualify for an estate tax charitable deduction.
Thank you, Stuart. So to learn more about Shriners Children's and ways to give, visit their website, shrinerschildrens.org/radio.
It's the 77 WABC minicast. You want it all. And you can have it now. It's the 77 WABC minicast. Everything you need to know in 10 minutes or less. Download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. In under 10 minutes.
This Gunnison Copper Highlight Minute is sponsored by Gunnison Copper Corporation, a company producing copper in America from its Johnson Camp mine in Arizona. CFO Craig Hallworth comments.
The Gunnison deposit has scale. That's why it's important to the country and also to the company. It's 550 million tons at 0.35% total copper. It'll make 170 million pounds of copper per year, and that's about 8% of the entire country's current production.
This Gunnison Copper Highlight Minute has been sponsored by Gunnison Copper Corporation, U.S. trading symbol GCUMF, and in Canada, GCU. Web address GunnisonCopper.com. GunnisonCopper.com.
The preceding may contain forward-looking statements which may not be realized.
A sales and marketing coordinator is sought by an employer in New York, New York. Salary is $61,797 per year. Requirements are a bachelor's degree in business administration, public relations, economics, communications, or related fields. Send resume to Inabata America Corporation. Attention, Richard Sabe, 1270 Avenue of the Americas, Suite 602, New York, New York, 10020.
This is 77 WABC Newsroom Extra.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy is using his final days in office to tout what his administration has achieved. Murphy says the Garden State recorded fewer than 600 shootings in a single calendar year.
Years ago, many experts, and by the way, yours truly, said getting below 1,000 shootings in a year was impossible, but we did it.
Data shows shooting victims have decreased by 28% since 2023. Murphy also touted a meaningful drop in auto thefts.
The fact of the matter is our ultimate goal is zero. Zero shootings, zero violent crimes, zero needless deaths.
Murphy says there's still work to be done, and he believes Governor-elect Mikey Sherrill and her team will continue working to reduce crime. Lisa Ritchie, 77 WABC News.
Now, back to the Larry Kudlow Show.
Talking stocks with two of the best, Nancy Tengler, CEO and CIO of Laffer Tengler Investments, and her book is The Women's Guide to Successful Investing, and Jim McCann, Senior VP Investments at Morgan Stanley down in Texas. Let me ask you a question. I guess I'll ask Nancy. Look, on the question...
Big yawn, Linda.
We talk about all these data centers that are going up for AI, right? Everything. The hottest thing in the world. Okay, fine. They need electricity, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say probably the most favorite form of electricity is natural gas. I mean, I understand nuclear, moving with these new modules and stuff, but it's not gas that they want. It's not the best thing, but to get nat gas, you have to drill for oil. Nat gas is a byproduct of oil.
Yeah.
So, whatever the price of oil is, I'm just saying the demand for power, demand for electricity power, is going to keep this whole sector going. It's nothing to do with Venezuela. It's about here, the boom we're having in AI. Now tell me that that's wrong. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right, and you're seeing a lot of the hyperscalers doing deals with nat gas companies, and so one of the names we own is Williams, and that's a name that will benefit from this. But I think what's really even more important than that is that the regulatory costs will likely come down.
Yes.
And that's going to be a benefit to to consumers, because they're sort of shouldering some of this burden now. And in our, we have a 6 for 26, 6 names, and our riskiest name in there is the best performing so far this year, and that's D.R. Horton, because we thought the administration would do something about housing, and indeed it looks like they are. Sherwin-Williams is up, Home Depot, D.R. Horton are all up about 9% already this year. And so if we get that disinflationary input into the economy by getting housing more aligned, energy comes down, bar the door, Katie.
We're doing great.
Off to the races.
The GDP growth rate is going to be 5, 6, and 7%. I've been saying that on TV, radio. People don't understand what's going on here. Just have a minute left. Jim LeCamp, am I wrong? I mean, I think you got to keep pumping oil and gas because the electricity demands are huge.
No, and to Nancy's point, Rocket Mortgage had a huge move yesterday. The other thing that's going on is rotation, which is very healthy for this market. Small caps have really started to do well, and they will benefit from deregulation. And let's not forget, if we do get rate cuts, and disinflation could cause it, I do have some concerns about base metals and other commodities pushing prices higher, but
Salem Radio. Future topics, we're going to talk about
the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here is my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it? With the times.
With the times, you're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide, based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Good afternoon, I'm Donna Vaughn. WINS News Time at 12:30.
Ashok Bala. President Trump held a meeting with oil executives continuing his push for the acquisition of a kingdom in Denmark that is not for sale.
Also on Friday, the president doubled down on his ambitions for the U.S. to annex Greenland.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland.
The White House has not ruled out using the military to acquire Greenland, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Danish officials have stressed Greenland is not for sale.
That's Willie James Inman reporting. WINS News Time, 12:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Patty Bendina.
Thanks, Ashok. Well, in Queens, we have some road work on the Van Wyck that has you slow both directions right around Atlantic Avenue, and some construction delays on the Grand Central northbound right around the LIE. In Brooklyn, the BQE eastbound, stop and go west. The BQE westbound is stop and go from the LIE over towards McGinnis Boulevard. It does open up a little bit, but then you're slow between Flushing and Atlantic Ave. The Gowanus eastbound stacked up from Prospect as you make your way onto the BQE up towards the Brooklyn Bridge. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The George is about 10 minutes as you make your way inbound. Cross Bronx delays outbound. They have you stacked back towards Jerome Avenue. If you're heading inbound at the Lincoln Tunnel, it's about 10 to 15 minutes, but no problems outbound. In the Holland Tunnel, that is completely wide open. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. We're looking good on the LIE, the northern state, and the southern state. Patty Bendina, 1010 WINS on 92.3 FM.
And now the AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Bill Dager.
And that forecast is a showcased soggy one as we head through the rest of our Saturday. We're seeing the rain moving into parts of the city right now, mainly across Staten Island and Brooklyn. It'll work its way north through the rest of the boroughs over the next half hour to 45 minutes. And we'll see Long Island, the rest of northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, get in on the soggy weather for the afternoon. It will pour for a time later today. We expect over an inch of rain in some spots and ponding on streets and highways. So be careful if you're out and about. It's not going to feel as nice as it has been for the past couple of days with a high of 46. That rain tapers off tonight, low 41. Just a shower to start tomorrow across Long Island. Then turning windy, some sunshine back to end the weekend, high 46. Can't rule out a sprinkle or flurry to end the day tomorrow. Monday, a chilly day despite sunshine, 41. More sunshine Tuesday, 46, and near 50 on Wednesday, 43. We're cloudy right now. Relative humidity 57%. Repeating the current temperature, 43, going up to 46. I'm meteorologist Bill Daker on New York's weather station. 1010 winds on 92.3 FM.
A meeting set in Washington for Venezuela's opposition leader.
President Trump says he'll meet with Venezuela's opposition leader Maria Machado at the White House next week, though President Trump has said that it would be tough for her to lead Venezuela. But when asked whether he'd reconsider if she gave him her Nobel Peace Prize, President Trump said he can't think of anyone in history who deserves the prize more than him.
Correspondent Selena Wan. Mayor Mamdani had a private meeting on Monday with Steven Spielberg at the filmmaker's Central Park West department. The New York Times reports this meeting took place after the director recently became a full-time New York City resident. Spielberg, a longtime Democratic donor, has not publicly supported Mamdani's campaign. What was discussed is being kept private. A spokesperson for the mayor only said that Mamdani returned to work after the event. A major change is coming to the Kennedy Center, the Washington National Opera, pulling out after 55 years.
The marriage of Figaro, performed by the Washington.
You like opera, Linda?
Last November at the Kennedy Center Opera House, where they
Huh?
have been residents since 1971. A vibrant part of Capitol life with an international reputation for excellence. But with the center now controlled by President Trump, the company says it will reduce its spring schedule and relocate. Trump's new business model requires productions to be fully funded in advance, which the company says is, quote, a requirement incompatible with opera operations.
Michael Toscano reporting. A scandal for a Home Alone star. TMZ reports actor Daniel Stern, best known as Marv in the Home Alone movies, was cited for allegedly soliciting a prostitute at a hotel in Camarillo, California earlier this month. The actor, 68, was not arrested, but soliciting is a misdemeanor in California, can carry up to 6 months in jail or a $1,000 fine if convicted. The citation comes just days before Stern revealed he'd been commissioned to create a sculpture for the iconic Home Alone house in suburban Chicago, a bronze piece featuring himself and the infamous spider from the film. No comment from Daniel Stern on the citation. Authorities in New Mexico have accused actor and director Timothy Busfield of child sex abuse. Cops say an arrest warrant was issued Friday charging the Emmy-winning actor with 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor. The criminal complaint says a child reported Busfield touched him inappropriately multiple times between the ages of 7 and 8, allegedly on the set of the TV series The Cleaning Lady, which Busfield directed and appeared in. The child's mother reported the allegations to Child Protective Services. Investigators say the child has since been diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. No response from Busfield's attorney and agents. Warner Brothers produced the series, investigated, but could not corroborate the claims.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you.
The Golden Globes, the biggest party in Hollywood. We'll talk about it next in 1010 Wins Entertainment.
Spectrum TV Fix TV. It combines all your favorite sports streaming apps with live TV.
32! Hey, it's only more Hail Marys!
It's only more bottom of the ninth magic.
It's only more slow motion replays.
It's only getting all the sports with over $100 worth of streaming apps like ESPN, Fox 1, Tennis Channel, Peacock, and more, included with live TV at no extra cost. It's only the way TV should be. It's only everything. Learn more at SpectrumTV.com.
Experience the great American novel on the greatest American stage. The Great Gatsby is a great big Broadway extravaganza that explodes with light and energy. No one is bringing down the house like Jeremy Jordan, who unleashes his once-in-a-generation voice in this exhilarating musical.
What do you want? More treats?
Get tickets at BroadwayGatsby.com.
The fight against lymphoma.
You want more treats, huh? There's only a few left.
The experience and skill of world-renowned experts. As New Jersey's only nationally ranked cancer program by
There's only a few left, Linda. You want them, don't you?
At Hackensack and Jersey Shore University Medical Centers offer innovative treatments close to home. Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Donato, and I lead the stem cell transplantation and cellular therapy teams in Hackensack
and Neptune. We're proud to be pioneers in our field and the most experienced team in the region, having performed over 8,000 stem cell transplants. We were the first accredited center in New Jersey to offer CAR T-cell therapy, a revolutionary treatment that harnesses the power of your own immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells. This is more than advanced care. It's personalized, life-saving treatment from distinguished experts at New Jersey's best cancer program. Call 833-CANCER-MD to schedule an appointment. That's 833-CANCER-MD.
Yeah.
1010 Wins Entertainment. The Golden Globes will air on CBS and Paramount Plus live from the Beverly Hilton in L.A. tomorrow night. Comedian Nikki Hayes are hosting again. Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, leading all films with 9 nominations.
This is Bob Ferguson. I was a part of the French 75 Steve Lovejoy's attack ring, and I cannot remember for the life of my only child the answer to your question.
The White Lotus tops TV nominees with 6. Marty Supreme star Timothy Chalamet is up for Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture.
How do you live? Well, I live with the confidence if I believe in myself, the money will follow.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work out?
It doesn't even enter my consciousness.
Maybe it should.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Adam
Ariana Grande.
also up for awards, and for the first time, the Globes will honor podcasts. You're hearing new music from Morrissey. Makeup is a Lie, not only the single, but also the name of his upcoming album, out March 6th. Marking Morrissey's return to the Sire label. He's back with his longtime producer. There's also a cover of a Roxy Music song. New music from Morrissey has been uncertain for years. Multiple teased albums and frequent tour cancellations along the way. Entertainment on 1010.
What, you want more? Are you kidding me?
New York's injury lawyers.
Go to hurtny.com.
That's hurtny.com.
You kidding me, Linda?
The IRS collection letters are getting more serious than ever. Let Fine Tax Law's attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents get you peace of mind now. Call 1-800-494-8777 for tax relief now. That's 1-800-494-8777. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. If you owe back taxes for a business, payroll, or individual, let Fine Tax Law help you now. Call 1-800-494-8777. That number again is 1-800-494-8777. The consultation is free, and if they can't help you, they won't take your case. Call 1-800-494-8777. That's 1-800-494-8777. You don't have to face the IRS alone. Call 1-800-494-8777 or visit them at finetaxlaw.com. That's finetaxlaw.com.
The station you know, the people you trust.
The Newswatch never stops. This is 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
It is cloudy, 43 degrees at 12:40. Good afternoon. I'm Show Kabbalah. Here's what's happening.
Safety Net Hospital have rescinded strike notices and made major progress.
But nurses at 5 hospitals here in the city will strike Monday morning if an agreement isn't reached. A rally this morning with lawmakers speaking out against the Trump administration freezing billions in funding for states including New York. The NYPD is looking for 2 persons of interest after a 17-year-old boy was stabbed to death yesterday afternoon in Woodhaven. 26 states are seeing very high flu-like illnesses. Hospitalizations here in the city hit a record high last month. Reverse Manhattan Hens will light up city streets tomorrow and Monday mornings, but you got to be up kind of early to catch it. The Rangers battle Boston at 1, Islanders at Minnesota tonight at 8. AccuWeather says rain is on the way with ponding on streets and highways up to 46. Winds News Time, 12:41. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Patty Bendino.
Well, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The East River crossings, no problems there. The George is about 10 minutes both directions, but we do have some cross Bronx delays outbound that extend back to Jerome Avenue. The major Deegan southbound that is backed up for right around West Tremont Ave as you make your way down towards the cross Bronx. If you're heading inbound at the Lincoln, give yourself about 10 to 15 minutes. Outbound,
Comfy baby, yeah, Alfredo.
The tunnel is completely wide open, and here's what we see on Long
She's
Island.
after those snacks, man.
The directions between the Wantagh State Parkway and the Seaford Oyster Bay.
Like I said, I've been giving her this other food that I bought. But she, it's chicken. It's healthy. I don't have a can. I got to bring it. I have it downstairs. I'll bring it. Next time I'll show you guys. But I have a friend who's very, she also has an older cat like Linda. And, you know, I just want to give her more healthy stuff, you know, because she was telling me, well, she doesn't give her cat, at least the older one. I believe both of them. She has 2 cats. No dry food. And I was like, because she said it's not the healthiest. And that includes this. Now, I had bought these before because I met up with, you know, I saw her a few weeks ago. And so I tried that food out. And Linda, that she recommended, that she gets for her cats. And Linda likes it. But she doesn't finish it all because it's like, I don't want to say it's like soup. But it's, let me lower this. Wait, Linda, ow. Don't get me. She smells the food. She like wants, you know. So she gets this food and it has chicken shreds in it, you know, shreds like little, but it's also like it's a wet food, you know. So she'll eat it. She'll eat the wet stuff. It's almost like liquid. I don't know how to describe it, like a soup, except it's pretty thick. But she leaves some shreds. She doesn't eat it, you know, and then they become drier, but they're still edible. Because I've given her Sheba, and the same thing happens. You know, after the food, she might not eat it in one particular dose, you could say, right? Or one serving. She'll eat it. She'll eat whatever she wants, and then she comes back. But she doesn't finish it. For some reason, then I have to open up a Sheba. For the night, I give her in the evening a Sheba snack, and she eats that. So, I don't know. I'm trying to give her healthier foods. And mind you, it's more expensive. That food, I've only bought, 3, 6, I bought 12 cans in a pack from Amazon. And for that price, I could pay $5 more and just get a pack of like 40 Shebas in a box. But like I said, the money, you know, it's expensive. It's true, I guess what they say, the healthier food. But I still want to give her, I still have dry food that I bought. I have Purina. And I still give her a little bit of that because I don't want to just give her wet food solely. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, we want the best for our animals. It is, but... And she's doing good, thank God, you know. So now we're in loaf mode, with the exception of the tail. The tail is still outside, but we're in loaf mode. Loaf mode. Okay. Loaf mode. Here we go. Beautiful. Beautiful loaf. A real, when it's an entire perfect loaf, I think her tail needs to be tucked away too. But it's not. Hey, cutie pie. Marching last night in southwest Detroit in reaction to an ICE agent shooting and killing 37-year-old Renee Good in Minneapolis.
Many were chanting no ICE, no KKK, no fascist USA. Dylan Cherry explains why he came out to protest.
I saw the video of Renee Good getting murdered the other day. It just made me sick. I'm really tired of this happening over and over again.
Protesters held signs, banging trash cans outside a hotel.
Jeez, that program's still on.
To leave the city, cops say 30 people were detained, cited.
Today, actually, for the first time, we are modeling an AI productivity boost in our S&P 500 earnings forecast for next year, and the magnitude of that boost is under 0.5%. So we still think even next year it will be quite small. But the important thing is it is growing over time.
But that's the users of AI rather than the investment.
Correct. When you're spending hundreds of billions of dollars in CapEx, the AI boost in terms of those.
So, of course, whenever I do a live stream,
the last couple of years.
Linda gets, she's getting sick of the scritches and the, but maybe not.
How does that compare with the concentration of earnings?
I give her, she gets many extra scritches on the days that I do these lives, so. She gets them regardless, but now she's getting many extra. Because you guys are here, so we do the live, I brush her. And I think she did pretty well today with the brushing.
So one way to conceptualize this is the market was correctly looking forward back then and saying earnings are going to grow. And so today, if the top 10 companies are 40% of market cap and a third of earnings, the question is, will they continue to outperform on an earnings basis over the next few years? Well, given the current run rate of earnings growth, it looks very likely that the answer will be yes, they'll outperform, although on our forecast, that gap will shrink a little bit.
And then markets might look forward further than that, and that, I mean, that's been part of the issue for some of them more recently.
And that's how you create valuation problems.
Tracy, when I hear that big tech companies only have about a third of the earnings of the S&P 500, my thought is, well, that's 70% of all corporate earnings that they have yet to swallow.
Thank you, my friend. Much love to your babies, too. Kisses, hugs, everything, my friend. Happy Caturday.
Amazon and Alphabet income in the future.
And how are they doing? Are they sitting by the heater?
The majority of money is not being made by tech companies.
What would it take?
Here it's a bit chilly and it's going to be raining in a bit. They say soon it should start raining. It's about 42. We're going to stay there.
Or at least part of how the market generates return over time. Well, first, Jan mentioned his desert island indicator being the unemployment rate. For me, every Thursday morning, I wake up excited to see jobless claims.
I've said it many times.
And
when it comes to my desert island, we're on the same page here.
But it's pretty chilly. Yesterday it was nicer. It was about 50.
We start to see claims rise.
We don't compare Sotiris here, so don't come here and write that. Next time you're going to be out.
I'll be nervous about that too. One consistent
All right.
pattern at the top of almost every equity bull market in the past has been tightening Fed policy instead of easing policy that we have today. And then, of course, the third is...
Next time you're going to get the boot permanently.
And maybe silly example.
Out.
A couple of years ago, I remember when the GLP-1 drug...
So be nice. Be respectful.
There was a very brief window where investors were...
So, yeah. You got to, I'm sure they love to sit by the heater. So.
Yeah. When this type of narrative starts to emerge in my conversations...
I don't know if you're trying to be funny, my cat is cute, blah, 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 whatever. You said that last time, that's it.
I mean, I feel that we could go a whole conversation talking about the economy these days.
There's not a competition.
Talk about how mediocre the housing market is doing, whether we're talking about prices, whether we're talking about starts, basically every measure of housing.
I'm sure your baby, if you even have one, because obviously, I don't know, is cute, but she ain't cuter than my Linda.
Even setting aside the crisis of 2008, 2009, housing is linked to the economy. Has always
well, yeah.
felt very robust. Does that change?
Nobody can top the Queen of Queens here.
If I look back to
Although I'm sure your baby is cute. So please be respectful. Be respectful of the Queen here.
40%, 50% of
Look at this beautiful loaf. Look at this beautiful, beautiful loaf. Well, yeah, listen. Ideally, I'd like to keep this a family-friendly channel because there's young people watching too. But although I don't have it marked as for kids.
High price levels, bad affordability,
still reasonably high.
But yeah, I would really.
It just hasn't really moved very much. Now, of
I don't
course,
want to blow off on the guy.
demographic
It's
changes,
not. But if he says something, could be worse, well.
less housing turnover, but it is not a major feature.
But still, there are younger audience members, so I like to keep that in mind here.
Housing go
And hello to Heather Star 397.
price appreciation and
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining.
More on the investment side and obviously a lot of the technology issues that we've been discussing.
So in your outlook, you say you expect China to hold up well. And I think this would be surprising to a lot of people who look out at, I guess, the global trading sphere. And it looks like everyone...
Heather Star, what's up? How are my fur babies? What are their names, please? Well, I only have one cat, which you currently see on the screen. And this kitty name is Linda.
At times, punitive level of tariffs from
Linda.
the U.S. side, exports to the U.S. came down substantially, 25-30% on a year-on-year basis, but exports to other places have held up very well. Overall exports are still 5 to 10%. They're a little bit noisy, but very healthy growth rates. And our
So thank you for stopping by.
That's going to continue.
All right, before, I'm going to get the string out now for a little bit before I sign off.
Better and better goods at cheaper and cheaper prices, and it's going to be pretty difficult.
Give me a moment.
For other economies, and they also control the supply of rare earths. They control about 70% of the mining, 90% of the refining. That's a pretty good way to deter trade action and tariffs, and I think we saw that in the negotiations with the U.S., but that could be relevant for other economies that try to impose tariffs on China. So
Here we go.
The sector is still going to be strong. Now, the flip side is that the domestic economy is very weak, and that's a country where the housing story is much more central. Housing starts and sales are still going down, even though they're already down 60 to 80%. But they're still going down steeply.
It's like a punching bag for her.
Our China team estimates that if you take the direct and indirect effects of property on GDP growth, it subtracted about 2 percentage points in 2025. And while the worst is probably behind us, they still have a 1.5 percentage point drag next year. So in that sort of environment, we think China will hold up okay, slower growth over time, but probably still closer to 5% than to 4%.
Ben, when you think about the earnings growth that the big tech companies have, the realized earnings growth, and you gave the example about how the market sort of was correct 5 years ago that they would come to represent 30% of earnings.
Let's put that there.
Historical precedent for the largest companies in the world to be growing like this year after year, because I used to think mature companies don't grow like small companies do. Is this sort of like a novel phenomenon when you think about the history of markets?
Part of what's fun about markets is they're always changing. And this seems to be one of those examples. We did a study last year. We looked at 100 years of market concentration in the U.S. And in the last century, we didn't find anything that quite matches up to today.
What do you think would actually put an end to that dominance? I guess stronger antitrust laws or what?
Yeah, I keep coming back to earnings.
Yeah.
And one way that earnings dominance could end, of course, is regulatory policy.
Hi, baby. Spin, yes. That's a first. She does that on occasion. Very rarely she'll chase her own tail. And she'll go in a spinning cycle. It's funny. I haven't gotten that on video, but that's funny as hell.
We started this conversation talking about the CPI number that came out. And
mine.
To hear just how unusual
Yes.
in terms of tracking some of the data and dealing.
I got to make that into a highlight. YouTube does this thing, it makes highlights. I think we have a new hidden talent here, Linda.
I would echo what Ben just said. This is what makes markets and economic forecasting fun, that there's always something new. And, of course...
She's still looking for it. It's right there. Oh, Linda.
If not unprecedented, then at least we haven't seen it in many, many decades. So that's a new set of challenges in terms of figuring out what the impacts are going to be.
Look at her. She's
In the prior 20 years or so, certainly compared with COVID, I mean, that's where you could effectively throw out a lot of the government data and had to look for other indicators like cell phone locations to figure out what was going on that, if not that day, then at least that week, and not a month earlier. So that's been a challenge. The government shutdown, I would say, has been more challenging than past shutdowns. We'll actually have holes in the economic data that will probably be there forever. And, you look at
she's about to start chasing her own tail now. Watch.
a consistent series for the U.S. unemployment rate on a monthly basis since 1948, except for October 2000 and...
Yeah, mind you, we don't do this every day. I only do it when I'm on lives. So last week, when was I last live? About a week ago, maybe a little more.
Where do you see this rate cut cycle going, and how deep?
And I could take out the other toys you've seen. That I have some toys. She doesn't care. She'd rather play with that.
75 basis points of insurance cuts in 2025, 2 more into 2026.
Linda. Hi, Linda. Hi, baby.
3.25%. We're penciling that in for March and June at the moment. Haven't changed that. I would say there's a pretty sizable amount.
The simplest thing, exactly.
It's certainly possible that if GDP growth does as well as we think, and that actually gives a bit more of a lift to the labor market, that they would wait.
Look, there's another string up there.
Push that perhaps into the
She gonna go for it?
But I'm also pretty focused on January 9th when we get the next employment report, because if that shows another increase in the unemployment rate, then I think it might be hard not to cut at the January meeting. We don't have that in the forecast at the moment. But
all right. So let me get this back here.
I'm Joe Weisenthal.
And I'm Tracy Alloway.
Here's the rest of this episode and all of our
Hey, Raphael. What's up, bro? Good to see you, Raphael, my friend. Thank you for stopping by.
From the financial capital of the world, 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com and the Bloomberg Business app. This is WBBR New York, Bloomberg 1130. Coming up, the latest market-moving headlines from Bloomberg. First, an update from our partners at CBS News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Allison Keys. Another day of demonstrations in Minneapolis and also in other places, including Philadelphia, Texas.
Yeah, radio stand.
And there are more calls for a probe after an ICE agent fatally shot a woman. Some lawmakers want to see funding cut for ICE. 2 people were injured in an ICE shooting in Portland as well. The Trump administration has said both shootings were acts of self-defense against drivers who used their vehicles as weapons to attack officers. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry just held a press conference.
I think that the initial impetus to come to Minnesota was go to Minnesota, arrest and deport a bunch of Somali people. And then they get here and they realize that the Somali people that would be arrested or deported are all legal. They're American citizens. You can't do that.
The president signed an executive order aimed at safeguarding...
Doing good. I'm doing great, my bro. That's glad to hear, Raphael.
He's also trying to get U.S. oil companies to reinvest.
It's good to see you, man.
CBS's Willie James Inman with more.
At the White House on Friday, the president promised American oil executives that Venezuela was ready for investment.
We're taking back what was taken from us. They took our oil industry. We built that entire oil industry.
But not every company is fully on board, with some expressing concern about Venezuelan regulations and security needs for personnel.
Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing the CEO of United Healthcare, was in court yesterday. CBS's Meg Oliver.
Friday's hearing concerned only the federal charges against Mangione. He is still facing murder charges at the state level. He has pleaded not guilty to everything. The judge tentatively said jury selection will begin in early September in Mangione's murder trial.
No agreement between the WNBA and its players union before a midnight deadline.
The Las Vegas Aces, WNBA champions,
Both sides are expected to continue negotiating. Any new deal will likely raise players' compensation substantially, with the league booming in popularity. But the two sides are far apart on several issues, including revenue sharing. The players want a $10.5 million salary cap, but the league is only offering half that much. This past season's salary cap was $1.5 million. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
You might want to take a look at your Gmail settings. Google is adding an AI feature that can turn the email service into a personal assistant that can deliver daily to-do lists, improve your writing, and summarize information buried in inboxes. Gmail transformed email when it was introduced nearly 22 years ago. So far, the new features are only available in English within the U.S. This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-9701. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Another high-profile departure from the Kennedy Center that will upset certain fans.
The Marriage of Figaro, performed by the Washington National Opera Company last November at the Kennedy Center's Opera House, where they have been in residence since 1971, a vibrant part of Capitol life with an international reputation for excellence. But with the center now controlled by President Trump, the company says it will reduce its spring schedule and relocate. Trump's new business model requires productions to be fully funded in advance, which the company says is, quote, a requirement incompatible with opera operations. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
There was good, bad, and ugly at the CES Gadget Show, from paper-thin TV screens and robots everywhere to the Worst in Show Awards. Lego introduced Smart Play, a blend of connected bricks with Star Wars themes, and Roborock offered a vacuum that can climb stairs. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
And I'm Monica Ricks in the Bloomberg Newsroom. Here are some of the stories we're watching. The first full week of trading of 2026 is now in the books, and U.S. stocks closed at all-time highs, fueled by signs of fresh economic momentum, productivity gains, and a benign inflation outlook. The S&P gained 1.6% this week. President Trump is calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates. Bloomberg's Ed Kalegi has details.
President Trump is calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates at 10% effective January 20th. He wrote on social media, please be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30% and even more, which festered unimpeded during the sleepy Joe Biden administration.
It is a ripoff when you have 30%, 25 to 30% interest rates on credit cards.
Or what actions he might take to force any change. Ed Kalegi, Bloomberg Radio.
The president says he sort of formed a deal on Venezuela with oil executives during a meeting at the White House yesterday.
Hello, Tama. Tama the cat is in the house. Thank you for stopping by.
Companies like Exxon are still skeptical, but the administration says Chevron's already making
Happy New Year, friend. Tama, thank you.
Flow by as much as $700 million a year. Here's Bloomberg's Charlie Pellet.
Chevron is the only American oil major currently operating in Venezuela. Jason Gableman of TD Cowen says that Chevron's efforts could add between $400 and $700 million a year, representing about 1 to 2% of the company's cash flow operations. Venezuela's oil industry has been
run down after decades of corruption and mismanagement. Charlie Pellet, Bloomberg Radio.
Nestle SA is battling a widespread infant formula contamination crisis that's now spread to more than 50 countries. It involves the detection of cereulide in an ingredient from one of Nestle's suppliers. The toxin can cause nausea and vomiting and has already led to scores of product recalls worldwide. And Saks could file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as soon as tomorrow. The luxury retailer's been struggling financially and is said to be working with creditors now to restructure more than $1 billion in debt. The goal is to stay open and repay some of the vendors it works with. Global news 24 hours a day and whenever you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.
Now, a sports update on Bloomberg 1130.
The NFL's Wild Card Weekend gets underway this afternoon. The Carolina Panthers host the Los Angeles Rams. LA's lost 2 of 3, while the Panthers have lost 3 of 4. In the nightcap, the NFL's oldest rivalry hits the postseason stage. The Bears host the Packers. There's hockey this afternoon in Boston. The New York Rangers visit the Boston Bruins. Tonight, the Islanders are in Minnesota. That's your Bloomberg Sports. I'm Seth Everett.
This is Bloomberg Intelligence with Scarlett Fu and Paul Sweeney.
How do you think the Fed is looking at tariffs, the uncertainty of tariffs?
Let's take a look at the sectors and how they performed.
A lot of investors getting whipsawed every day by news events.
Breaking market headlines and corporate news from across the globe.
Could we see a market disruption, a market event?
Are people just too exuberant out there?
You see some so-called low-quality stocks driving this short-term rally.
Bloomberg Intelligence with Scarlett Fu and Paul Sweeney on Bloomberg Radio, YouTube, and Bloomberg Originals.
On today's Bloomberg Intelligence Show, we dig inside the big business stories impacting Wall Street and the global markets.
Each and every week, we provide in-depth research and data on some of the 2,000 companies and 130 industries our analysts cover worldwide.
Today, we'll look at why a turnaround at the footwear giant Nike is beginning to take hold in North America.
Plus, a look at why Amazon cloud sales may get a push from AI in 2026.
But first, recently on Bloomberg Intelligence, we discussed HBO show Industry.
Industry is a high-stakes drama following young graduates competing for careers in a prestigious London investment bank.
Now in season 4 this year, the bank has folded, and some of these junior bankers have become power players in finance, business, and politics.
For more on the show, we sat down with Mickey Down and Conrad Kay, co-creators, writers, and executive producers of the HBO
Thank
show
you, Hickey.
Industry. We began by asking Mickey Down about the theme for
Thank
season
you,
4.
my friend.
Wow, what a big question. I think the theme.
Happy weekend to Linda and Tasso. Thank you for the nice live. Hello, Tama and Raphael. Says Hickey.
And how does it corrupt them? How does it mutate them? And is there a way out of this institution, this life, this industry?
You know, I spent 35 years on Wall Street, and many years on the trading desk. You guys get it. I mean, you've got it. I don't know how you guys did that. Did you guys work in the financial services industry before, Conrad?
I did, yeah. After I graduated college, I was a U.S. equity sales guy at Morgan Stanley for 3 years. And I was famously, when my boss let me go, he said I was the worst salesman he'd ever met on Wall Street. So he was like, go and do something else because you're pretty useless at this.
Well, that's a true Wall Street career. You haven't had a Wall Street career until you've been fired from Wall Street.
100%.
That's what, and I've been there myself. You guys, what's the state of the industry in London these days? I mean, how are the young people feeling in the industry? Because you guys reflect that with your show very well.
Well, I think our show is a reflection of almost like 10 years ago when we were in it. And I feel like people like me and Conrad were never in the industry now. I think it's become a lot more technocratic. We both did art subjects.
We were so underqualified, you wouldn't believe it.
We were. I know, I'm not a great mathematician. But I can see
you seem to a literature graduate and a theologian. So
great.
So exotic derivatives were not our strong suit.
Only in England is that allowed.
So there's no room for liberal arts majors on Global Wall Street anymore. And what's apparent is the show has become less about banking and more about wealth and resources and the leveraging of that. So, Conrad, what are you saying about capitalism and how it interacts with politics, with media?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, as we've written the show, we realize that more and more we're writing really about the class system in the UK. Who has power, who doesn't have power, who's born into power, and the sort of relative different glass ceilings people face. Like, I think season 1 was a kind of experiment because they were the main characters were from such different socioeconomic backgrounds that they were always bumping up against different ceilings.
Beautiful loaf mode.
Set out every season to say something didactic about
Perfecto.
capitalism. Like, I think the show is The show has
Her tail is out, though.
We set out to make 8 hours of the most entertaining thing we can. Like,
Isn't this a perfect loaf? Look at that.
really means something still. All we care about is entertaining an audience, really.
How is it getting a show on the air these days? There's so many different platforms. It used to be pitched to a handful of networks. And
Perfecto mundo.
now you can go anywhere on these streaming platforms.
Eh?
How's that impact?
Perfecto mundo.
Well, I think there are fewer platforms than there were at least 5 years ago.
Cat loaf. That's it.
In the industry. I think
Spin, double spin. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the replay. That was funny. Yeah, I'm gonna try to post a highlight of that if YouTube doesn't, because YouTube makes automatic highlights now too. They make them and they say they want you to upload them. So I upload them, whatever. She went like this, 2 spins.
And obviously, there are lots of different streaming platforms and lots of different outlets, but I think actually we're just making a lot less stuff.
We were really in the right place at the right time when we started developing the show about 10 years ago, because it was the real gold rush of TV in terms of the amount of content getting created. Netflix came in.
All right, I'm gonna end the stream now, guys. But I want to thank everyone for whoever stopped by.
We were just in the right place at the right time somewhere.
Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. I got no schedule, I just come on whenever I feel like it or whenever I have some time. So, hit the notifications if you so desire. Smash the like button. And thank you very much for stopping by, everyone. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Jennifer Cortez, I do remember you. Welcome back. Thanks for stopping by, Jennifer. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.